All right, Mr. Akbar. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello, we are now live.
Okay.
And
Why don't we
yes, sir.
why don't we make a toast?
You know what? Definitely a toast to.
Beg pardon?
What do you want to toast to?
I want to toast to you being the beautiful wife that you are.
Wow, thank you. You know, this is a serene melody, I think it's called. Um, Also, liver detox and another one.
I can feel my liver now, detoxing.
Good. That's the goal.
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
and
Yes,
you know,
ma'am.
I always gotta throw some ginger in there. That's just my thing. Uh, is it okay with the music playing?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I just want to say hello to everyone that may be joining us. You know, this is our lunchtime tea talk, next level conversation, level up with the Akbars, and today's topic is faith. And you know, Mr. Akbar, when this came back around because we do the 5 F's: faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. And when it came back around to faith, I was like, wow, we've talked about faith for so long, but what really came up for me is last night during that new moon, the blood moon, the eclipse, the red, where you can all of a sudden set your intentions by releasing and letting go of anything that no longer serves you. And, I was grateful because we've gotten so far away from our spiritual so-called rituals to say our practices. I'd rather say practices because many times we don't even know that how to perform them, or we're kind of fearful that. Trying to turn it down a little more. I like that
Yeah, I
song.
thought you were going to be playing jazz.
Yeah, well, it kind of does its own thing after I get it
Okay.
going.
No
But
worries. No
I'm gonna
worries.
turn it off just so we could focus. Yeah, so last night, because we were to write out the things that we wanted to release, with my daughter, you came down as well, and we were able to, use the medicine staff and create the vortex and just really call out what is in our heart, in our spirit, using prayer, using meditation, using the ability to just get one on one with spirit. I thought that was beautiful. And I really felt a cleansing. I felt a healing because there was some, things that I didn't know that I had still been harboring or holding on to, because I've done work around those things and I have released and let go. But it's amazing how what I'm learning is, even though you may set an intention to release and let go of, if it's been something that's been in your spirit for year after year, one time of letting go is supposed to be sufficient and it's supposed to be enough. But because we are creatures of habit and so used to, continuing to adapt some mannerisms, behaviors that have been learned, or in stuck in your subconscious, sometimes it's hard to break those cycles. So I believe that even when you let go of something, you may have to re-let it go as well if you find that you kind of still holding on to it in your spirit. I know that was kind of a long introduction, but what's your thoughts, Mr. Akbar?
Well, I totally agree with what you were saying, and how that happens. And so, but I think I got a different little spin on that because it's like forgiving but not forgetting.
Mm,
And so, see the things that happen to us in our past, if we don't transform that to believe that it happened for us in our present for our future, then we will allow a reaction to that. But what the thing that I practice doing, and I like you using that word practice, the word the thing I like practice doing is identifying what I know I've already dealt with a situation. You see, but we got this thing that's never going to go away. It's called emotional memory.
hmm
And so because of that, it's already in our mind. Every experience in life has already been recorded. It's never going to have to be. It's never going to be a way to take it out of there. It's always going to be there. And there's going to be situations in life that will trigger that, if you will. It will activate that. But see, God blessed us with conscious awareness. And so when that happens on a conscious level, I say, oh, that's already been resolved. Does that make sense? Or I can act like it's a new experience the way it was when it originally occurred, and I react to it as if it's present now. That's why people can go back in their memory and become overwhelmed with fear, because they don't understand that process of how you heal, or how you get better, and how you identify and recognize that's already been resolved. You see, because there was an event that reminded you, just like an old song. There are some songs that can take you back to the 60s. Why? That's when you first experienced it, in the 60s. And you go back, man, to what happened in the 60s. Boy, you be, that 60-year-old, not really, but in your mind, in your memory, you'll be reliving that, replaying that. You see? And on a conscious level, you say, man, this is 2021. And you come back to reality. So it's the same way with those unresolved issues, and thinking that, because you have an emotional memory that has been activated by current situation, that you got to live that again. I don't believe you have to. I believe you just identify it and already resolved that and move on.
Yeah.
That's it. That makes sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And you know what? That's where it comes to when it's talking about being triggered. Many times I think individuals don't even realize what they're experiencing. That's why when I'm sitting with my clients and even with my patients, I try to say, find where you being triggered in your body. Where is it affecting your body right now? Because then we can get to the root of where that stems from. Because I remember years ago, I used to have a sciatic issue. It used to come shoot up and down my leg, all the way up my back. And at that time, I wasn't overweight. So I wondered why I'm not overweight now either. But it was a moment where I was packing a few extra pounds that I had to let go of and never.
What?
Never
I didn't notice.
Anyway, what I would share with them is to, really locate, where's the stress? Where is it? Is it in your back? Is it in your abdomen? Because some people have IBS, they have internal issues, they have all kind of diverticulum, things of that nature, because they hold in stress and anxiety in their abdomen. Then, when you tense, your shoulders tense, you're walking around with your shoulders up in the air, and then you finally realize they like that and you let them down. But what was causing that tension? What was causing that stress? And then that's where I think faith comes in. Faith comes in because most times, if you think about, no matter where you've been in your life, no matter what's happened to you, what you've gone through and experienced, you've come through. If you're still here, you're still able to talk about it, then you get an opportunity to see how your faith has brought you through those times when you didn't even know if you were going to make it through. So then, hold on to that faith when you come up against some other challenging times. And I think we talked about this one time before in our talk. But now I'm really cautious and careful too when things happen that's not so favorable, that I don't really care for or like. I'm really careful on how I talk about it or express myself, because that's still the universe doing what it does to protect me, to guide me, to see me through. So when things don't work out, things get pushed back, plans get canceled, planes get rescheduled, things like that happen. I just learn how to just step back and just thank the universe, because I know that it's interceding on my behalf. It's stepping in, supporting me. I'm not in a dilemma or caught in a crossfire or in a struggle. So, I'm learning not to voice things in a negative way when things go my way, but being grateful. So in regards to faith, with you, Mr. Akbar, where's your faith been tested? I got questions.
Well, faith all my life, but I didn't understand. I didn't understand the dynamics about what faith actually was about. You see, and so now I tie faith in to the spirit of who I am as a person, and it has nothing to do with who you see. You see, I am a spirit being. You see, and I believe that I cannot compromise. I have a choice to, but it's like this. Everybody is faith based until it's challenged, and it says Faith untested is faith untrusted. But so now just think about this. When everything is going good, everybody can be good. So it's just like that. What happens now when everything that you had lined up and planned on, it seemed to be a barrier and an obstacle in all directions? Now, are you going to maintain your integrity? Are you going to start looking for loopholes and shortcuts? Are you going to maintain the spiritual person that you are? Because there's been some physical oppositions for you. You say, well, how are you going to compromise that? How are you going to measure that in, right? Because I know as a faith-based person, and I ain't talking about, no religious base or anything like that. I'm talking about the spirit that makes me the person that I am, of integrity, striving to be the most honest, striving to have work ethic, striving to be all of those things that will line me up with a legacy that will be remembered from generations to come. So that's the spirit that I'm working towards, developing as a person, as a spiritual being. And my faith is challenged when I forget that. And I start compromising those vital and valuable principles that hold me accountable as the person that I'm developing. You see, and the remarkable thing about it that I've learned as a faith person now, that I can design what I want to happen. And it's so simple, right? I'm on my way to New York. Not really, it's hypothetical. Okay. And you see, I know I can't get there if I only got $25 to put in the gas tank. I mean, I'm not going to make it according to a logical plan. Now I can get out there and haphazardly hope to panhandle or like influence people to help me out with gas, but then I won't even be able to determine when I'm going to arrive. You see, but now just think about it. I got everything I need to get in my car and go to New York, and I can tell you the required time that's going to take me to get there. Now, I may not get there because of some oppositions that might happen in the course of that travel, but guess what? I already know I have what I need to get there. And so faith is determined like that. You see, when you know you got everything you need to do what you want to do with your life, in spite of all the opposition that might come up, the adversities that might show up, in spite of all that, you got faith in believing that, you know what, I got a plan for how my life is going to look. And it's all lined up around integrity and all of those attributes that keep me in the image of God. And anything in the course of that is strengthening me to be prepared when I get to my destination. Now just think about it, Rachel. You see, because sometimes people use adversities as reasons or as messages or as signals to say, aha, I knew I wasn't supposed to. But to the contrary, in spite of that, you are supposed to. That's when faith becomes challenged. In those moments when your opposition, your adversities start to divert you from that wonderful idea that you had, from those enormous dreams that you wanted to fulfill. Adversities is that thing that will shatter your faith. And so now you're living in the house of fear. Why? How did that happen? Well, because you lost the conscious awareness of you being a spiritual being, developing to arrive at a destination that you planned out. And you got God's support on that. Why? Because he said, be in my image. God don't let adversities divert him. I mean, in spite of all of our bad activity, God still loves us. I mean, what if he looked at us as the adversity, right? Now, I wanted greatness for this individual, and all he do is go in the opposite direction. I just can't. And so, God haven't given up on us. Why am I going to give up on my
interpretation?
You see, why would I give up on my dreams? Because of some adversities. When I know now it's designed to strengthen me. I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to overcome. I'm going to be challenged by it. And guess what? I'm going to look at it just like I would Satan. And I'm going to say the same thing to adversity that I would say to say, get ye behind me. I'm finna smoke you.
What would you say to someone that has so many obstacles and challenges where a lot of things they've tried to do and to move forward. They've all, like, I say you take 2 steps up, you end up having to go 3 steps backwards. What would you say to someone that continues to be challenged with making their dreams come true or setting goals and being able to achieve them because of so many obstacles in the way? How could they continue to keep that faith to move forward?
Well, I know for me, what's been proven historically for me, when I had a plan that I thought was a great plan, or I had an idea that I thought was a great idea, I didn't do the right planning. I didn't have the right resources. I didn't have what it would take to practically endeavor this venture. You see, so the reality is, if you're not being successful at something that's noble, you got to evaluate those missing puzzle pieces to the puzzle, because everything can be achieved if you believe. You see, and if you start on a journey, it's because you see something already. And see, now you get interrupted now with your belief process, by these oppositions, these adversities that occur. Then it starts to challenge you in ways now that you're doubtful.
Mhm.
And so, as you are doubtful, then you start getting in company. What's the company for doubt?
Gossip,
Complacency. So,
complain.
now you got a party of all of this negative energy, and before you know it, the hosts come in, fear.
Mm.
And then fear begins to give a conversation to the rest of the crew. Doubt, right? Complacency, apathy, lack of all of those guests that are suddenly in your house
Mm.
because your faith was shattered
Mm.
because you allowed it to be. So, we can always remount. That's the whole thing about this wonderful life that we have. We can stop, start over at any time we choose. But we got to identify, first of all, not being frustrated because, man, I'm just not getting where I want to go. Well, did you have enough gas, money to get there? So it's always an evaluation process when things are not working out as well. I mean, just think about Edison and those guys that was inventing things way back, before modern time. All of those failures, right? They knew was leading to a success because this don't work. Okay, we'll strike that one off. You see, we can't forget about the evaluation process that's necessary when we're on our journey. When things are not going ideally. Why? There's a reason.
Mhm.
Did you know you had a flat tire? Yeah. And so you keep riding on the flat tire, then you're gonna need not only a tire, but you're gonna need a rim too. You see? And so that's what happens sometimes when people are not correcting what's interfering with them. Then they perpetuate a different problem. That
So
makes sense?
it does. How do you change your self-talk, like the inner talk? Because your belief systems, something that has been ingrained in you for so long. How do you break those negative cycles of self-talk that's doubtful or shameful or fearful or just self-defeating? How do you change those belief systems and thought processes? Because they go on up in here, right?
Well, we're gonna still man, that's some great information. That's a great question, Sister Rachel. But it's like, think about it. Where did we lose sight of belief that God said, be in my image? And so the self-talk is affirming, be in my image. And what does that look like? Well, we start identifying God's attributes.
Mm.
And the reality is God's attributes, if you in negative self-talk, is going to have no picture related to that.
Mm.
And so we start affirming who God wants us to be, knowing that all of that negative energy came from somebody that had charge of us before we had charge of ourselves. So now, as we take charge of our life, first we start affirming who we are in God's image. Then we start taking on new information to validate that. And we live accordingly. And so now when we have a negative experience, self-talk is automatic. This too will pass. I am above and better than
Mm.
anything beneath and below me. Talking about those negative attributes. That's beneath you. It's beneath you to have doubt. It's beneath you to live in fear. It's beneath you to think you better than somebody else because your insecurity leads you to believe that you're less than. So now you got to overcompensate. All of that type of stuff that happens in our lives, we don't have to be there because we can affirm who we are in the image of God. And what does God's attributes look like? Nothing like that.
Right. I love that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And it also gave us a blueprint on how to manifest that and make it happen because so many times people can share with you what to do, share what the solution is, give you the puzzle pieces to get there. It's easy for me to say, don't doubt, to be encouraged, that, change my thought process, change my mindset, but how do I do it? So those are the questions, the long-term questions.
Now think about this, Rachel,
Mhm.
right? Before you get to a place of being able to replace, what you want to replace, what you got to do first, you got to make room.
Mm,
So like I remember when I was in the transformation phase and I wanted to be different, I had to tell myself even before I knew what really different looked like, I knew what I didn't want. And I used to say to myself when I had crazy ideas or ideas that wasn't lined up with what I really wanted to do or be, I would just simply say, I don't do that to
mm,
myself.
mm.
I, and now over time, right? This is the magic. Over time, by me not doing that, by default, I was doing something different.
Yes, yes. That's
And
what
then over a series of days and weeks and months, doing that something different by simply having the affirmation, the self-talk that I don't do that, it opened me up to do something else.
yes, I love
And
that.
see now I got a reference now of not doing that.
Mhm, mhm.
And so it strengthens my belief that I don't have to do that.
I like that, and that can be a tool or a nugget for people that are, may have not only diseases but may have phobias and that have behavioral issues and things that they know is causing them pain, causing them strife, causing them have dis-ease in their day-to-day life and their family dynamics. It's just not doing that. It has to start somewhere. And then you can start incorporating other things that you don't do once you put that into practice and see some change, see some relief, and see some benefits. So great tool, Mr. Agbar. You're amazing. There's 1 minute left. If you would ask me a question, I'm happy to answer.
Okay, let me ask you a question. And you might think it might be a little conceited on my part,
Okay.
but can you tell your audience exactly how wonderful your husband is? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I do want to ask you about your faith.
No, you're not. You ain't kidding.
No, I want to ask you about your faith. No, I'm not kidding about that. I want to ask you about your faith.
Well,
And
you know what? Because we only have a minute, I would just say in regards to give me a little bit more of that question.
when is a time recently when your faith has been shattered?
Recently, I don't have shattered faith. I don't have that because my faith has been so strengthened that even when times of uh, sadness, times of obstacles and things arise that is uncomfortable or is going to cause for me to utilize more prayer, more meditation, being still and know that the Creator has my back, and also just other challenges and obstacles. I know who I am. And so just knowing who I am and knowing whose I am gives me a parameter that I won't go beyond. And because I've done that already and have been chastised by the magnificent, and then also given another time and another chance and another way, then I definitely have to go that route because there's so many people in the grave today who didn't heed the call, so to speak. And so when you know better, you definitely have to do better. So I can't do what I used to do because I'm already knowing that with the consequences of doing the wrong thing and following the wrong crowd and investing my time, energy, and money into things that are not of goodness. So yeah, I'm challenged because I'm human, but I know that there is a level that I won't go beyond.
Cool. Love it. I love it. Thank you, Rachel.
You
Thank
are,
you for allowing me to share this platform with you,
yes, sir.
my queen.
Cheers to you, sir. To my king, have a wonderful day. We'll see you again on Next Level Conversation. Level up with the Ag Bars Lunchtime Tea Talk next
Family.
Wednesday, and our topic will be family. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
My life.
My life, too. I'm out.
You can take me to lunch.